Hey, welcome back to the Apple and Orange line. I know it's been a minute. It's been more like 7 years since I've posted a new video, but I plan on posting some real train fanning type videos and some reviews of my Lionel videos upcoming in the next few weeks. Here during the Christmas season, I plan on setting up a train down around the bottom of the Christmas tree. I haven't set that up yet, but we'll do that. And then I've got four old box sets that were my original trains that I got when I was. Mostly these were from the 70s, late 70s when I was a kid. This is all MPC era Lionel stuff. So if you like this kind of content, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll show you my existing trains. I don't have an actual layout right now. I'm going to set up a temporary layout and run these trains. And while I'm setting up a temporary layout, I'm going to play around with some ideas for kind of a small corner layout that would fit into a corner of a room. And once I'm going to be moving, so once I get moved and settled, I'll set up a new train layout, and I'll document that along the way here on the Apple and Orange line. And I think the layout will be Pacific Northwest agricultural town, like where I grew up, and we'll have. They had electric trains running through the city streets when I was a kid, hauling apples and produce from the farms into the packing houses, and then into the main line where the Pacific Fruit Express and all that. They would link up, put the trains on the main line on the Burlington Northern, and ship them. Back in the old days, it was the before Burlington Northern, it was the Northern Pacific. They would send them. They could ship trains out of here, and they could be in Chicago in less than 48 hours, and in New York, whatever, 10, 12 hours after that. They could have apples, fresh apples, and cherries, and pears, and tree fruit, peaches, and stuff like that, apricots, all that kind of stuff that's grown around here. They could ship it back east and have it in market anywhere across the country. And my dad's dad, my grandfather, worked in the ice plant here in my hometown, and that's what they did. They filled those cars. He ran the steam. He was a steam engineer. He ran the steam engines that made the ice, and they could load up those cars with the ice and apples and ship them back east. Anyway, if you like this kind of content, please hit the like and subscribe. I'll give you a quick overview of the MPC sets that I'm going to feature in the coming videos, and I'll be posting them on a regular basis. So please give me a like and a subscribe, and I'll post more. If you have any ideas for a small layout, like a small corner Lionel, it could be 027. Most of my trains are 027. I have some that aren't, but anyway, that would be that would be great information. If you've seen YouTube videos or if you've done them yourself, please leave a comment down below. And I do have about a small layout's worth of rail track, black center rail track. I'm not sure what this track is. I can't find. If you know how to identify this, it's these. There are two pieces taped together here, but the ties are wood. They're light, very light. I don't know if they're balsa or something real lightweight wood. And they've got silver outer rails and then the black center rail. This was pretty cool when I was a kid to have that. And then it was expensive, I know, at the time. But it was before Fast Track and all digital DCS or whatever that stuff. I don't even know about that. I'm going to have to learn. I'll be learning, and I'll be documenting my learning as we go. But if you know how to identify this track or want some more information on it, I couldn't find any numbers or names or anything stamped on it, so I don't know what brand it is. I'd be curious to find out. But I have a ton of tubular old Lionel track that came with most of my sets came with track, and then we bought more as we went along. But so we had kind of a double level layout when I was a kid. We had an big L-shaped layout. It was probably, I don't know, 8x12 or something. And then we had um, we had an upper deck that was probably more like 4x8, and it sat up there, and the upper deck was all this track. So we have two. I think there were two main lines going around, and then a switch, and it had a little siding and stuff. So and then the big layout was, I think it was made of all tubular Lionel track, which was pretty common in those days. And so I think what I'll do when I do my new layout in the coming months is I'd like to set up something small in a corner. And I kind of picture the dimensions of like a kitchen counter, like the corner of an L shape in a kitchen counter, like maybe not too much deeper than that. It might be a little bit deeper than that, but I'd have one track going all the way around. I'd prefer two, but at least one track going all the way around, and then maybe a center track or I'll do something. I'd like to have a trolley. I don't have a trolley, but I want to get a trolley because they're big in my hometown. So I want to get some trolleys, and then I'd like to kind of recreate the electric traction system, that interurban type system that they had in my hometown. So if you like this kind of content, I'll make more. I'll be doing some videos of the trolleys here during Christmas. They'll be out running, and then I'm going to be doing more detailed videos of my trains. So we can go take a look at the train sets right now. These are old MPC era train sets. Please give it a like and a subscribe if you want to follow and see more. I'll do a detailed video. My next videos coming up will be detailed videos of these MPC sets. Thanks for tuning in to the Apple and Orange. So the first of the train sets here, this is my very first train set that I received. And I was probably 6 years old, I'm going to guess. And it's a Lionel New York Central Empire State Express. Big 027 gauge electric train, die-cast metal New York Central 464 steam engine. This was always my favorite steam engine, and my dad's too. He loved this engine. It's big and heavy. Electronic mighty sound of steam, operating headlights, smoke, all that stuff. So what's funny is track and transformer are not included. And then on the I think down here it says it doesn't really say MPC, but it says Fun Dimensions. I think it was division of General Mills. So so that's the first one I'm going to review. And this was a pretty special set. It probably, by today's standards, it might not be, but it had a Great Northern boxcar, had a New York Central cattle car, I guess it was, Southern hopper, I think it says Big John on the side, Sunoco tanker, and a bay window New York Central caboose. So we'll get that out. But this engine, this was a nice engine. It had great sound, lots of smoke, and it's a big, heavy engine, a 464. And it was mine and both my dad and I's favorite. Another one I got later, I think, was this Milwaukee Road special passenger train. And I had forgotten. It shows it here with looks like two passenger cars. Let's see if it says here, a complete 027 gauge electric train set with die-cast engine featuring mighty sound of steam and whistle, working smoke and headlight, plus illuminated passenger cars. So it has the, I think it just has two regular lighted passenger cars, and then it has the observation car, and then the engine and the tender. But this did come with track. I believe it came with track and a small transformer. So we wound up with a whole bunch of these transformers plus a couple bigger ones, but nothing like today's gear. But this train I did pull out a couple years ago, and I put it around the Christmas tree. But while I was looking for some stuff, I did find probably 4 more extra cars. I think there's a mail car and a couple more passenger cars. So for this train, I actually do have, I think I've got at least maybe 4 more cars, probably the mail car plus a few more passenger cars. And they may be all different numbers. And I think they have different names on the city. But my mom rode the Milwaukee Road across the United States when she was actually born and raised in Canada. But she and her mom were going to Scotland after World War II, and they took the Milwaukee Road from Seattle to Chicago. And then eventually they took trains up to Detroit and Windsor, and then up to Montreal and Quebec City. Then they took steamships across the pond by the icebergs and over to France, and then over to Southampton, and then more trains up to England, or up through England to Scotland. But this Milwaukee Limited, this is one I had forgotten about. This one says 1978, limited production. And I'm not 100% sure if this box goes with the set, but I'm not sure. I always wonder about that because I kind of forgot about this. I don't remember this box, but it is, I think it is legitimate, and we'll find out. But I know I have a Milwaukee diesel and a bunch of different Milwaukee Road train cars. And this one is my Amtrak Lakeshore Limited. And this was a special train, which I believe I got this on my 9th birthday. My dad and I took Amtrak on that day. I don't even know if I knew. I think it was a surprise. We went down. My sister had taken Amtrak to Montana to go skiing at Big Sky, so we'd gone down to the train station and saw her off, and when she came home, and then it was maybe that next year, probably that summer or something, we took the Amtrak from our hometown to Seattle through the mountains. It was really wild, really cool. And it was about a 5-hour trip. And my dad had ordered a brand new Triumph Spitfire sports car, which was made in England. And so it took a long time. It took about 8 or 9 months for that car to arrive, but it came in. It was at the dealership in Seattle. So we went over, took the train over, I went over and picked up the car, and then we went to my grandpa's house and showed him the car and talked to him. And he was the one that worked in the ice plant. Eventually, he worked at Boeing during World War II. He worked because of his steam knowledge, he worked on the pressurization system of the B-29, the XB-29 at the time. And then later after the war, he worked at an ice plant on the Seattle waterfront that supplied ships, and trains. The railroad's right there too. But anyway, this Amtrak, I've only been on Amtrak a few times in the Northeast, and then a couple times in the Pacific Northwest. The other time I got into a car wreck when I was in college. I went skiing up in Idaho, got hit by a drunk driver, wound up in a small town, and the sheriff who helped me said, my friend and he told us, there's a train coming through, it'll go to Spokane. He goes, maybe you can get one of your friends to come pick you up in Spokane, and which I called around. I found one of my friends was home in Spokane that weekend. And so we caught the train about 4 a.m. from Sandpoint, Idaho, took it to the Amtrak, took it to Spokane. That might be the last time I was on a Amtrak. But anyway, so that was the significance of this. On my birthday, I took Amtrak, about a 5-hour trip through the mountains to Seattle, and then I got the Amtrak Lionel train. So that'll be fun to look at also. So that's kind of the setup here. I've got, these are all MPC era. I would say I got this one, and that car was a 77. And I think that was my 9th birthday. So, so I've got, I don't know if it has I thought it had a date on there. It's just a number stamped on there. But so anyway, so these are all MPC era Lionel, General Mills, Lionel train sets. I've got a whole bunch of other engines and cars and accessories and stuff. Pretty much everything I have in my collection is Lionel. There was no MTH back then, and I don't think I have anything else that's not Lionel. At the time, that was really the main option, and I got almost all of these trains, and these train sets came from I believe the place was called Doug's, and it was in University Village in Seattle, near the University of Washington. Was the name of the hobby store. I think it was called Doug's, and I would go over there and blow my allowance money on a new engine or cars and all that kind of stuff, and then usually for my birthdays and usually Christmas, I would get these sets, and then my birthdays I would usually get some cars and engines and stuff. So that's kind of how it worked. I don't have a huge collection, but I've got some other stuff besides these guys. But these are kind of the core of my collection, I guess, if you want to call it that. So anyway, in the upcoming videos, we'll go ahead and we'll look at these and take a look.